There are thousands of boxes of correspondence records in Prov's collection. Each letter received was generally filed with other documents that record the response made and other actions taken. Such files can include many individual letters. You can find lists and descriptions of the files by using the Prov catalogue, but not usually the details of each individual letter contained within them. This video will show you how to search for a particular letter in a correspondence file using an example from the Chief Secretary's inward registered correspondence. The Chief Secretary's department coordinated correspondence across the government for many years. Using their correspondence system is a 5-step process. Let's begin.
To find out if Prov has a particular letter in our collection, you'll first need to identify which government department or agency would have received or created the letter, and when that would have been. Let's use an example and look for a letter about Margaret Cuthbertson, who was appointed as Victoria's first female inspector of factories in 1894. We can use the Prov visualizer first to find the relevant agency, and we find this tool under Explore the Collection. Here we'll enter a keyword and a date. Factories were inspected to make sure that they were a safe working environment, so let's try entering safety and specifying 1894 as the year. The Chief Secretary's Department comes up in the results. Now that we've found an agency which seems relevant, we want to find the correct correspondence series from that agency. So click on the agency name to see the agency's catalogue page, then choose Record Series tab to see a list of the series created by that agency. Let's narrow down the results by searching for a keyword such as letter or correspondence within the list of series titles. By cross-checking that with the date ranges and the descriptions, this series, Inward Registered Correspondence 3, VPRS 3992, might contain the letter we're after. But there are many different correspondence files for 1894. We need to use the register and the index to help us determine the correct file. If we look at the Related Record Series tab, we can see that VPRS 3994 is the register for the correspondence series. So we'll be using the register in step 3, so you might want to bookmark this page. But first we will look up the index, VPRS 1411, and order the volume for the year 1894. If you're not completely sure about the year, you can always order multiple volumes of the index. Ordering a record, such as a volume, means we can view the physical record at the Victorian Archive Centre's reading room in North Melbourne. If you haven't ordered a record before, take a look at our video guides for how to create an account and order records. You'll find a link in the description below.
Now we're looking at the index to inward registered correspondence for the year 1894. Indexes to correspondence are simply lists of summary information about individual letters received, arranged in an order by the subject or sender of a letter. An index covers a specified time period, often a year, and frequently they are alphabetically organized by headings. For example, the E section here includes education, estimates, and exhibitions. It might also contain senders whose surnames, company names, or government office names start with E. We're looking for a letter about the appointment of Victoria's first female inspector of factories. Under F, there are several pages for Factories Act correspondence. We should make note of any entries which sound promising. Here is a letter about a female inspector, so we'll note down the file number, X641.
After discovering the file number for the letter, we're ready to look at a register of correspondence entry for it. We go back to the page in the Prov catalogue that we bookmarked in step 1, the Related Record Series tab, for Inward Registered Correspondence 3, VPRS 3992. In step 1, we looked at the index, and now we click on the register. We'll order both volumes for the year 1894. One is labelled X and the other is Y. The letter we're looking for has the registration number X641, so we know that we're going to find it in the X volume. But it's often worth ordering both volumes and even the volumes for the following years. You'll soon find out why. In the X volume, we browse through the pages until we reach X641. This summary confirms that the letter is indeed about the appointment of a female inspector. The other information recorded about the letter includes the date it was written and registered, and whether it was referred to someone and why. But the key piece of information is on the right. This entry, Y1073, lets you know that the letter was attached to another, later piece of correspondence. It's also worth noting that the previous papers column, which is empty, confirms that this was in fact the first letter in the thread of correspondence. So now we can look at the register entry for Y1073. We'll need to switch over to the Y volume for 1894. And when we get to the entry for Y1073, you can see the previous paper is X641, the register entry we started with. This register entry also directs us to entry Y2334, which, because it starts with the letter Y, will also be in the Y volume. And the entry for that letter directs us to another entry, Y4828, and so on until the letter is finally labelled as filed under X5122 in the X volume for 1894. This is sometimes called the top number because that number, the most recent letter, sits on top of the correspondence file. If we saw alphanumeric numbers starting with letters other than X or Y, that means that the chain of correspondence continued into future years. For example, these entries started with A and B are from 1895, and you can always go back to the register in the Prov catalogue and order more volumes.
After using the register and index, we found out that the top number we're looking for is X5122 from the year 1894. The top number is the last letter in the correspondence chain, and all previous correspondence will be filed with it. With this information, we can go back to the catalogue page for the original series, Inward Registered Correspondence 3, VPRS 3992. In the Record Items tab, we see a list of all the records contained within the series. Each of these records is a box of letters. The 2-digit prefix tells us the year, so we browse to 94 to find letters from 1894. Now, within 1894, we're looking for a letter with the file number X5122. For this step, we can ignore the X in front of the file number and just look for 5122. This box contains letters from 4984 through to 5259. So our letter, 5122, should be within that range. Let's order that box.
After obtaining the box of letters, our final step is to find the file we're actually after. Each file is a bundle of letters relating to the same issue that have been filed together under the top number. Within the box, the files are in numerical order, so we can browse through until we find the number we're looking for. X5122. Success! X5122 is a letter about Margaret Cuthbertson being promoted to the position of Female Inspector of Factories, Workrooms and Shops. At the back of the bundle, we find the letter we originally set out to find, X641, the first letter in this series of correspondence from the Chief Inspector of Factories, outlining why a female inspector needed to be employed. Sometimes you might find that a letter has been filed, but there is later notation to say it was subsequently transferred elsewhere. Take a look at the columns refer to whom and when and for what purpose. Generally, you'll need to interpret some handwritten notes, but as we can see in this example, there's a stamp noting transferred to External Affairs Department. See file 01166-1913. This indicates that originally this letter was filed under the number 8564, but then the whole file was moved to the Commonwealth Department of External Affairs when this function of government was transferred to the newly created federal agency. You also might find a letter that has neither a reference to the subsequent letter nor a filed in the right-hand column. And this usually means that the letter was referred to another department or agency of the Victorian government, but it was never returned. In this instance, the letter was referred to Treasury on the 13th of November 1894, and it was not sent back. While there is no guarantee that the letter was kept by the second agency or that Prov even holds the correspondence for this agency, it's always worth further investigation. And in this case, you'd now consult the Treasury's register to see if you can discover what it did with that letter. To locate the register, you could start by searching for the word Treasury in the Prov catalogue and then filter by agency. Checking the date ranges, this agency could be what we're after. Click on the Record Series tab and enter the keyword Register, using the titles and the date ranges as clues. Select any series which have potential. Now you can order the records that correspond to the time period of the transfer. And as we've seen previously, it's also a good idea to order the records for the following year or so too. So now you've seen how to find a letter in the Chief Secretary's correspondence. You can use the same principles and methods to find letters in other correspondence series created in other departments. But always read the About page first, because there are variations in the way the different series are organised.